Welcome to Jags Drive Time with Ashlyn, Sullivan, John Oehser, and Brian Sexton. Jags Drive Time starts right now.
Come to work, like you said, he's not used to that. You know what I mean? And and that makes me want to play even harder. I want to win, for myself and my team, but also this whole coaching staff for him. You know what I'm saying? And because that's the trust that he puts in us, and that's the trust that we need to give back to him. So he basically told us to come back to work. He went up to guys individually, talked to them, see how their head was at, and everybody I talked to, I know we locked in. So it's the only way to improve every week and just come back stronger.
Jaguars' Josh Allen on the message from head coach Urban Meyer after a preseason loss to the Cleveland Browns. Yes, it is preseason. We saw a lot of overreaction on social media, a lot of deep breaths needed, but we did learn a lot from this preseason game.
I suppose I've seen 27 years of preseason football, and it's taught me, and even more now, the way that coaches use preseason games to create matchups or to make it situationally. You really can't overreact. You can see some things you go, okay, that's got to be better, and we're going to do some of that this morning. But overall, a deep breath is required because there's two more of these, and then none of us will remember the outcomes once we get into the regular season.
Totally true. Welcome in Jaguars Drive Time, Monday morning. Ashlyn, Sullivan, Brian Sexton here with you. Brian was on the broadcast for the first time
with
in a
Bucky
long
Brooks.
time. Yes.
Yeah, and Bucky was fantastic.
Yes, he was.
We'll do the game against the Cowboys in 2 weeks, and if you want to hear an upcoming analyst, a guy who really understands the game, on more than just an X's and O's level, the social dynamics of it, the locker room, the coaches, the media side of it, because his work with the NFL Network, he's terrific.
He is just an overall good guy.
And fun to work with,
It's like talking football like Chili's.
I told him he makes everyone around him better because he does his job so well, from the statistician to the director to the producer in the truck. That's a high compliment.
Yes, so stay tuned for the next preseason broadcast with Brian Sexton, Bucky Brooks, and Brent Martineau. Jaguars back on the practice field today and tomorrow. Camp kind of sort of breaks Tuesday afternoon. They go into a preseason schedule on Thursday with a player day off on Wednesday, but there is a lot of work to be done as we get into big things to go through that work. Big thing one is easy expectations. The hype was real in training camp. Lots of oohs and ahs on the practice field, but we have to remember this team was 1-15 last season. The expectations, we might have to lower them a little bit, especially in the preseason. But first, Coach Meyer wants this team to just overall play faster going forward.
Everybody reminded me it's a 20-game season, so now what's it, 19-game season left? At this point with the offense, 85 yards first half, and it was a classic how not to play field position. Guys give great effort on a kickoff return and knock it out 60 yards, and it goes back to the 10-yard line. Just classic how not so teachable moment. Just disappointed offensively. I don't like slow offenses, and I told those, I thought the third quarter was better with just tempo, getting up the line of scrimmage, snap the ball, and I don't want to be one of those slow, wallowing offenses, and we'll get that fixed.
Big thing, too, is better be better. We have been supporters of this offensive line saying they are better than people think, bringing back all of those starters, but they better be better than they were on Saturday, even though Trevor Lawrence is taking a little bit of the blame for the sacks we saw in the preseason.
I feel like first time out there, I felt comfortable, felt poised. Obviously, the first play is not kind of what you want for the first play, but after that, I thought we did a good job. We communicated well up front. They did a really good job with protection. At least one of those sacks was on me for sure, just holding the ball too long. So that's something I'll work on, and just maneuvering in the pocket is something I've always got to work on. So.
All right, and we're going to end on a high note. Big thing 3 is better. This run defense has come a long way from what we saw last season in just one preseason game. Just ask Josh Allen.
Our goal every time we go out, take the field, is to stop the run. That's our mindset, because we can't rush the passer, we can't get pressure, we can't do what we need to do. Let's want to stop the run. It's the easiest thing to do in the NFL, and if a team's real efficient, that's what we want to continue to do that. So our mindset was to come in this game is to stop the run. We didn't know who was going to play. We was ready for whoever, and You know, we just gotta stop the run and get better week in, week out.
Alrighty, let's go back up to
Let's go
big
there.
thing one. The expectations. Here's my thing, Brian, is we hear Coach Meyer talking about we got to play faster, we got to play faster. To me, hello, John. To me, it seems like they're already playing faster, at least from what we see in training camp. It seems like this team is so much faster. So we're going to hear from head coach Urban Meyer at 10:15 this morning. I want to know how you replicate that in practice.
Well, it's so hard. It's so hard to go full speed, and they don't want to overdo it. My thing on this is that expectations are easy to create. We've created them, right?
Yeah.
The organization's created them. The fans have created them. It's Urban Meyer out there and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it's easy to create huge expectations on these guys, and the expectations aren't really ever going to go down, right? And we're saying, hey, go easy here. It's the preseason. But when you have Trevor Lawrence as your quarterback, the expectations are always going to be high. And you just talked about being able to replicate the speed of it. I mean, that was the very first time that he had been out there. And the speed of the game is different here than it is at Clemson, even in the preseason. So, and even though they weren't the front liners for Cleveland. So, and John can weigh in on this. The reality of it is that you won't see this kid do that too often, right? He'll get out of there quicker. He'll get rid of the ball quicker. He'll learn. That was his first snap. First snap against another team. Peyton Manning won 3 games as a rookie. Ben Roethlisberger won 11. I think this kid and this team are somewhere in between, say, 6, 7, right? Mm-hmm. But they're going to have to get better, Ashlyn, to get to that number. And that's what this is about.
Mm-hmm. All right, John, what are your expectations now that we have watched one preseason game? Are they higher? Are they lower than what they were previously? All right, well, let's go to big thing 2 while we wait for John to get back. This offensive line, it's hard because you are seeing them against a Browns defense that we're not used to seeing. You're not seeing the big-time playmakers on the Browns. But it was more so the tackles is what you're concerned about.
Yeah.
The Jawan Taylors, the Cam Robinsons. You're wondering about Walker Little. Will he find a new home?
This is my hot take, so I'm gonna tread gently on this one at this moment. Look, when they decided to keep George Warhop from the staff, it was an indication that they thought that this offensive line had played better last year than most people who looked from the outside in. Apparently, I won't say apparently. It was pretty clear the other night they got to play a whole lot better, and I'm going to hold off and reserve judgment.
Better be better.
Better be better. Is John with us, or can I keep going?
You can keep going.
Okay. So the run defense, as you know, has been the drum that I just keep beating because the offense, we know. I mean, we all know that's going to come with this quarterback and the offensive line. But the run defense gets overlooked because it's not the sexy part of the game. Throw the ball, rush the passer. That's what people focus on. But this team, since Marcel Darius went down in 2018 in Cincinnati, has been abysmal at stopping the run. And last year, it was so atrocious. I just wanted to cover my eyes and just go right down the field because that's what most teams did. What Jonathan Taylor did on the last Sunday of the season to this team was embarrassing. So when Joe Cullen put that tape on, I mean, he knew as he started to put together a scheme and deal with Trent Baalke and the head coach to improve this, they had to get dramatically better quicker, which is why I keep beating this drum. Mm-hmm. Where are they? Are they better? Yes, they're better. They got push. Now, that wasn't Nick Chubb, right, who averaged 10 yards per carry in the fourth quarter last year. You want to know why that's a Super Bowl contending team? Because they can control the line of scrimmage. The Jaguars front has to be able to push back. Coach Meyer said in his postgame the other night, he never felt the defense lost the line of scrimmage. Okay, that's a good start. Mm-hmm. Can they be better? Oh, yeah. Will they be better? You like to hope so, right? It's a 4-linebacker scheme, and I think Joe Cullen is a terrific defensive mind. So I expect that they will be better. But I'm not letting go of this thing because you can't. If you can't, you heard Josh say it. If you can't force teams to throw, you can't unleash the beauty of that defensive scheme and the aggressiveness in the blitz. They're not going to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. You got to stop the run. Devon Hamilton played well the other night.
Yes, I was just going to ask about him.
I think he's a terrific player. He was playing so well last year before he got hurt. He's wide, right? So he's that true zero technique in this 3-4 scheme, but he's also so quick. He's got such athletic feet and quick hands, and he's smart. He knows how to get leverage on guys. And he's just a young guy. He hasn't even played 16 regular season games. There's a lot of reason for optimism about why this group is going to be better this year. You're going to have your moments where teams are going to gash you.
Yeah.
They're figuring out the scheme, but you hope it's not. You hope it's the exception and not the rule, which it has been for 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, Josh Allen said that Devon Hamilton, with the rate he's going, could be the best nose tackle in the league here soon.
And those guys are so critical to a scheme because they create a pileup and they force offenses to adjust. He'll be a train wreck in the middle in a very positive way.
Yes. So optimism there. We end on a high note.
Oh, well, sure. Hey, you know what? Even though you didn't necessarily see 27 points, I don't know what the expectation was.
Right, preseason.
The quarterback showed you everything you needed to see.
Yes.
I mean, the throw to Marvin Jones on the first drive, Bucky couldn't say enough good things.
That was a beautiful throw.
And how about overcoming the second throw, the 35-yard throw? How about overcoming a sack on each play and not having to punt, right? He kept things moving. There are plenty of reasons to go, I didn't like this, I didn't like this. Man, the coaching's list is a whole lot longer than ours or anybody who's watching this. But there are plenty of good things that make you go, okay, all right. That's where the expectations have to come in. Remember, they were never one player away. It's a new coach. It's a new system. This will, I've said from the beginning, I thought this was a 7-9 team or 7-10 team.
I know, it's weird to say.
Yeah, it is weird to say. I think that's fair. 3 wins for Manning, 11 wins for Roethlisberger. The spread is 8. Add 4 to 3. You get where I'm going.
We are good at math.
Somewhere in the
Broadcasting.
middle. No, not really. Don't make it more complicated than that.
All right, when we come back on Jaguars Drive Time, we go through some of those highlights, that Marvin Jones catch we will talk about right here on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. And Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
It's a fact. All cars will eventually break down. If you have CarShield, you can protect yourself from the high cost of auto repairs. And they're America's #1 auto protection company. Your transmission, engine, and car's computer system are all covered. Get the ultimate vehicle service protection. Call CarShield now at 800-471-1223. That's 800-471-1223.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
At ViStar, we believe in better. And that means treating people better with friendly, personal service that's kept our members happy since 1952. A smile and personal greeting when you enter the branch, an online or phone chat for those quick questions, and a call center that's open every day. If you believe that great service is better, join ViStar. Visit ViStarCU.org. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
Call CarShield now. If your car's at a manufacturer's warranty, don't get stuck with expensive mechanical and computer repairs. Call CarShield now. We're back, Jaguars Drive Time. It is a new day, a new week. We're recapping that preseason game against the Cleveland Browns this morning as we go through some highlights. We just have 3 of them.
Okay.
But they're 3 that we can take some notes from.
Let's go.
Let's start right here with 2 sacks on Trevor Lawrence. Admitting not the way you want to take the first snap of your NFL career with a sack. A.J. Cann got beat right here on this first one. Juwan Taylor on the second, but that was one where it looked like Trevor Lawrence might have held on to the ball a little too long. He admitted that in his press conference. But overall, we're looking at the tackles here. It sounds frank. They just have to be better.
They do. And they didn't play well last year, and Urban Meyer has challenged them. I think Cam Robinson has had a pretty decent camp. But in my hot take, I'm going to lay out my plan for what I would do.
Keep trying to
Yeah.
make you go there.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, part of it obviously is the quarterback held the ball too long. He's used to having time at Clemson. The speed of the game is it's so much greater at this level, even with second-tier pass rushers coming after you and not Myles Garrett. He's just going to have to learn. And by the way, he does. We saw him, third down and 10. He was patient in the pocket, shuffled his feet, slid to his left, waited. There was good protection there too, and then made a beautiful throw to Marvin Jones. I mean, this is the learning curve. The first time you sat at that desk, right?
Things weren't good.
Right,
Yep.
exactly. Anyone who's watching this now remembers the first time they did what they do.
Yeah.
You weren't as good at it as you are now. And this kid is going to be very good at it. You got to remember that he's a rookie quarterback, and then Peyton Manning won 3 games and threw 28 interceptions. The league record for rookies still, right? And he just went in the Hall of Fame last week.
Yes, he did.
It takes a little bit of time. But as I mentioned, when you have a quarterback and a coach as highly regarded as these two gentlemen are, the expectations are never going to level out. They're always going to be this. So everyone in this building is just going to have to get used to it.
Yes, they are. All right, John, we saw the reactions, especially about the offensive line on Saturday night. What did you think about this?
Well, as you guys might expect, I'm revved up. I've been trying to get on the air. I've got my takes on this. Look, thud practice, which is what you do in practice, does not simulate real game. So in every sense of the word, the first play the other night was Trevor Lawrence's first play against anything remotely NFL. Yes, people are killing the offensive line. On both sacks, he could have gotten rid of the ball, especially the one that people are attributing to the offensive tackles. They've got to play better, but this offense will look more in sync as he gets more comfortable. He played 12 or 14 plays the other night. It's time to just relax. I'm so worked up, Ashlyn. I hope that was the way we were going to go. I had to get that off my chest. The run defense, they are ecstatic about the way they played run defense the other night. That's my takeaway from this game overall. Brian and I talked about it the other night right after the game, and I wasn't sure until I went back and looked at it. That's exactly what they wanted to see. That's a brick that you can start building with. That's what they were hoping for.
All right, let's go to the second highlight that we are going to talk about. You mentioned it. It was that throw to Marvin Jones coming off that sack that we saw where it looked like he might have held the ball a little too long. It's also 3rd and 10. This was his best throw of the night. And this play, he has all the time in the world to make this throw.
Really, wow, what a throw. And look, we've seen him make throws like that in Skelly in 7-on-7, 9-on-7 out there. So the pass protection really stepped up. You talk about learning, right? Getting better. They got better. They're figuring out what's going on up front. And the offensive line, you would think, could be a lot better. But that throw had Bucky Brooks going, whoa, okay, they're done. I don't need to see any more of them. That is a rare trait.
Yes, I agree, John. I was under the impression when I saw that throw from the stands, I was roaming. I said, okay, you can take him out now. We saw enough.
Yeah. As you guys know, we've talked about it. Once a practice, once a day at least, he does something like that, whether it's on the, whether it's down the field, whether it's a quick out in the end zone. That's what you're looking for. You don't fluke into special every day. I don't fluke into special ever, so I know what I'm talking about. But he's going to be fine. I think something you can take from that is what you and Brian just said, though. The pass defense, the pass protection wasn't awful every play. I went back and rewatched this. It was really good on a bunch of plays, really, except for the 2 sacks. I get a pass protection is all about you got to do it every play. But I'm not sure it's as much of a disaster as people are throwing themselves off bridges for. But, we'll see. I think they're going to be okay. I like Brian's hot take coming up. I think you got to do something. But overall, this didn't feel like a disaster game to me. Maybe I'm just naive.
They'll have to prove it, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing about this game is you get a chance the next week to go out and to prove it. And if it was Myles Garrett that had come up with that sack, well, then people would be like, oh, it was Myles Garrett. But it was Sheldon Day, who we had around here and remember as being sort of a journeyman. And he beat a guy, by the way, A.J. Cann, that knew him. Yeah. So you're like, what are you doing? Which leads to my hot take, so I'm going to shut up.
All right, let's go to our last highlight.
I can't wait for that hot take.
Here we go.
Fun, John.
We've teased it a bunch. All right. This wide receiver battle that we continue to talk about. It's one of these touchdowns right here to Tavon Austin. CJ Beathard, by the way, I'm going to tease John's hot take, was the most reliable quarterback outside of Trevor Lawrence. Coach Myra mentioned in his post-game press conference, half of these wide receivers will not be here come regular season. Did he do enough, this touchdown we're seeing right here, John, to make you think, okay, did Tavon Austin, is he closer to making the team with this?
Well, I don't know if he's on the team, but he's certainly a guy. You don't bring in a former first-round draft pick with this kind of ability, this kind of experience, and say that he's not in the mix. This wide receiver cut, I've said for the last week or so, out of the 10 years I've been back here, this feels like the deepest position. It's going to be the toughest roster cut. I think the top three are made. I think Dorsett's going to make it. And then after that, it gets Treadwell, Austin. You have Jalen Camp, who's showing some things, who's a rookie. He feels like a practice squad to me. But you've got guys who are making an impact. If it had just been the other night, I would say, well, Tavon Austin, maybe not. But every day in practice, since the day he got here with no knowledge of this offense, he makes something happen. I talked about Trevor Lawrence showing up every day. Tavon Austin, to a slightly different degree, has shown up. He's one more game like this, Shalane, I'll say this. One more game like that, and he makes himself very difficult to release.
Well, they featured him in his very first practice. Bucky Brooks was in, right, but the day before we did the scrimmage last week, and they featured him immediately. He had just arrived that morning.
Got off the plane.
Right. Yep. So obviously they were looking for his specific skill set, and I know what they think of Dorsett. So I don't know how you fit another pure speed guy in, although I get that they
like pure speed.
I get that, except if you had nothing else. But, I mean, the top three, you're set, as you mentioned. And I think Laquan Treadwell has proven it week in and week out that he's a guy that a former number one pick you're going to want to have. I'll say this for Tavon Austin. He has secured a spot on someone's roster this season.
Oh, yeah.
He's shown that he still has it. And no matter what happened in L.A. or St. Louis or Dallas, he belongs on someone's roster.
Yeah, and you look at Laquan Treadwell, really didn't play that much in the preseason game, making you think, all right, they know what they want from him.
Well, and he belongs on someone's roster. So these guys have found a chance working with this quarterback and this coach to secure a job somewhere this year. But it is a fascinating cut.
It is. We're going to pay a lot of attention to it in the coming weeks. Just like we were talking about our hot takes that we have heavily teased. They're coming up on Jaguars Drive Time.
Jags Drive Time is presented in part by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. Next Grill, everyone's invited. And Adecco. Visit ADECOUSA.com.
It's a fact. All cars will eventually break down. If you have CarShield, you can protect yourself from the high cost of auto repairs. And they're America's #1 auto protection company. Your transmission, engine, and car's computer system are all covered. Get the ultimate vehicle service protection. Call CarShield now at 800-471-1223. That's 800-471-1223.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
After a major storm, you can count on JEA to safely restore power as quickly as possible. During Phase 1, we restore power to critical infrastructure, hospitals, shelters, and police and fire stations. In Phase 2, we put all our resources into restoring power to neighborhoods and businesses. And during Phase 3, we won't stop until every outage is resolved. Because when the community you serve is home, there's more than power on the line. Learn more at Do More with JEA.com. JEA, building a more resilient community.
We're back. Jaguars Drive Time Monday, brought to you by CarShield. It is time for hot takes, and there's nothing better than hot takes from preseason because they're extra dramatic.
Well, because they kind of tend to just be, you have to attach the asterisk to the end of it, which is hold on, stay tuned, let's see what the next week in practice and next Monday night's game does. Mine is, let's go ahead and just move Walker Little into his left tackle position. People, whoa, wait a second now. You gave Cam Robinson $13 million on the franchise tag. Fine. But he's not going to be here next year. He's going to be here this year. He can play right tackle. He is a better run grading tackle than he is a pass blocking tackle. And you can move him over to the right side and be relatively assured. I say that because I just don't know that Juwan Taylor, who I love as a person and a player, is a right tackle, John. He just doesn't show me the feet. I haven't seen it on the practice field, and I didn't see it on the game field the other night. I think he is a perfect guard, and there were people when he was coming out of Florida who thought he was better suited with his power and his base to be a run-grading, all-pro caliber guard. Move him inside, right? And then A.J. Cann becomes depth at that point. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to wait. Let's do something and make this offensive line get the best five on the field, and I think Walker Little is easily one of your best five, and he might be closer to the top than the bottom.
Yeah, it feels like one of those preseason freight trains that's coming, and I don't know where that train's going to end up, if it's going to be right tackle or left tackle for Walker Little, but it certainly feels like he's going to be in the starting lineup. They're trying to make guys earn it. I get that. It feels like he's earning it. I sort of agree with you, Brian. Juwan Taylor, to me, still feels like a right tackle in body. I would hate to give up on that, but they have to get their best five out there, and somehow it's going to be Walker Little somewhere in there. I can't help but think at this point that he's not in there, if not the first week of the regular season, very soon after that. And I'm even thinking week one.
In his rookie season, Taylor was the right tackle, and in two matchups against J.J. Watt. Now, and I get it. It was J.J. Watt closer to the end, obviously, than even the middle. And he was so physical and so dominant at the line of scrimmage with J.J. Watt. I thought, wow, look at this kid. Mm-hmm. He's really going to be special. But last year, he struggled with the footwork. And in today's game, they put speed rushers on that opposite side. And they didn't used to. The best rusher was on the right side of the defense, the left side of the offense. I just haven't seen the footwork from Juwan. But I think he's a terrific football player. I just think he should be the guard. Now, there's smarter people across the hall that understand it than me, but I think you make your whole team better if you put Walker Little on the field and put Juwan Taylor inside. For whatever it's worth, it's just a hot take.
I think this is a nice compromise. Hear me out.
Okay.
And I am not a coach, surprisingly, I know.
I can't believe that.
Start Walker Little at left tackle your next preseason game. See how it goes. We haven't seen Walker Little in a lot of game-type atmosphere. We've seen him one-on-one in practice. See how it goes. Make your decision. Put him in there. We need to see game reps because I know there's a lot of people saying, well, he's a rookie. You can't start a rookie left tackle with a rookie quarterback. That's a recipe for disaster.
No, it's not.
But Walker Little might be that good.
I liked what I saw.
Yeah. All right, John, you got a spicy backup quarterback hot take.
Well, Brian might have been the most hyped hot take in the history of hot takes. I can't live up to that. But, C.J. Beathard, all off season, I kept hearing, well, why did they sign him? He didn't look great in OTAs, in training camp. And I kept thinking, this kid throws the ball downfield during practice. He seems to be running the offense. I was never one to rule out that he might be the backup. He certainly looked the part the other night. He's a 5-6 year veteran. They paid him for a reason. He's silencing some doubters, and I don't think it's as absurd as most people thought that he might be the backup quarterback for this team. It's not as hot as Brian's because I just can't commit to saying he's absolutely the backup, but he was the second best quarterback in the Jaguars roster the other night. There's no doubt about that.
I don't know. I think it's pretty hot. So in our production meetings on Friday, Coach Meyer went out of his way to talk about his admiration for Gardner Minshew and how much he has grown on him. Didn't know what he had, when he got here. And then the way that he called him a street fighter. I said it's kind of like a dog who, bites into a steak and won't let go. And he nodded. He goes, that's exactly what it is. So the head coach thinks very highly of Gardner Minshew. Yet when you watch the lack of arm strength on the last play of the first half there with that Hail Mary, and then Beathard comes out and up and down the field. It's a noticeable difference in terms of arm talent and the ability to make all the throws, which we've known since Gardner arrived that's not, it's his intellect and his mobility that allows him to make good throws. To me, it's not even worth debate. Your number 2 quarterback right now is Beathard, and then I think Luton's third. That's just me.
No, from what you saw at the game, yeah.
Again, I don't think Gardner can make the throw that Luton made between defenders into the end zone. But the head coach likes Minshew, and I get that. A lot of people do. I think it's Beathard.
Well, and he's
Luton.
gotten a lot of, I agree. That's why I didn't want to make it that hot, or I put him as a backup, because Gardner's been working with the ones all throughout, and he's gotten so many more reps. It's hard to imagine that it's moved that much that quick. But based on the lights being on the other night, that's what it looked like.
Yes,
so we'll see.
That's the thing is I was one of those doubters for C.J. Beathard, and I said Gardner Minshew looks so much better on the training camp field. He's got to be the backup quarterback. But the biggest question was, well, can he do it in a game time scenario? When the lights are on, what does Gardner Minshew look like? Totally different than what we've seen on the training camp field. It's got to be a factor.
We've seen it. We saw it last year when he was on the field, and they were 1-7. And the head coach has said you have a record, right, of wins and losses, and that record speaks to who you are. Well, they were 1-15 last year, and they were 1-7 with him in the lineup. That's why they signed Beathard. Now, again, I get it. They didn't know what they had, but you saw the other night what you do have. We're here across the hall. They may have a completely different opinion, but to me, the score sheet says it's Beathard, number 2.
All right, so we're going to the defensive side of the ball now. My hot take is cornerback C.J. Henderson will be a starter and contribute this season. I know this is tricky to predict, and that's what makes it a hot take, because last week I don't know if I would have said this with all the trade rumors and everything going on, but then we saw him play in the preseason game. We saw that pass breakup, and you saw him come off the field, and Urban Meyer kind of touched. It was odd. I don't really know how to describe it. They kind of like pounded heads, and it was almost like a coach saying, I see what you're doing, and it's very important. And then you hear Shaq Griffin, you hear Josh Allen say for C.J. Henderson to come in, deal with everything he's been going through with COVID and missing basically the entire offseason, to come in and play like that in a preseason game shows why the Jaguars need him. I think this coaching staff is going to do everything in their power to make sure, John, that C.J. Henderson is on the Jaguars as a starter contributing this season.
Yeah, C.J. Henderson wasn't just a first-round pick. He was a top 10 pick. He is an absolute talent at that position. I've been saying for months, Miles Jack, Josh Allen, and C.J. Henderson give this team a special opportunity to have big-time elite at secondary level in Henderson, at pass rushing level in Josh Allen, and at Rome middle linebacker with Miles Jack. Not that many defenses have that blue chip talent at every spot. If all three of those guys play to a high level, this defense gets better in a hurry, especially if they play run defense the other night. C.J. Henderson is a key to that to me. If he's elite, which he showed the other night, he can play at that level, then all of a sudden Shaq Griffin's your 2 and Tyson Campbell's your nickel. All of a sudden they're really good at that spot. And a secondary that was suspect last year becomes okay. If you figure out safety, you're okay. He's important, and the storyline on him has changed dramatically in a week. They like what they see there.
Let me add to it real quick. Henderson ran down the field and showcased his talent against a guy with very little in the way of on-the-field work on the practice field against Donovan Peoples-Jones, who Urban Meyer recruited to Ohio State and said when he didn't commit, he was crushed because he thought he was one of the best receivers he had ever recruited, okay? So Henderson goes down the field against Donovan Peoples-Jones, who has been on the field and wowing people in Cleveland since the first day of training camp. Tyson Campbell, I know he gave up the touchdown. He also had a pass defense in the end zone. He showed you something. Sidney Jones, same thing in the corner of the end zone. They've got 4 cornerbacks right now that they can rely on with Shaq Griffin, we assume C.J. Henderson, but Tyson Campbell and Sidney Jones. they've got a nice situation going in the secondary.
That they do. Time now for the JA lineman of the game. We're going to award this to Adam Gotsis, the Aussie man. 2 big-time tackles, 1 for a loss. Adding to that depth, the defensive line will use to their advantage this season. The Jacksonville Jaguars would like to thank JA's frontline teams for all they do to help our community thrive. Please help us recognize JA's frontline team of the game, representing the 2,000 employees who work hard to serve you each and every day. We're back here quick on Jags Drive Time.
It's a fact. All cars will eventually break down. If you have CarShield, you can protect yourself from the high cost of auto repairs. And they're America's #1 auto protection company. Your transmission, engine, and car's computer system are all covered. Get the ultimate vehicle service protection. Call CarShield now at 800-471-1223. That's 800-471-1223.
Hi folks, Frank Frangie here to tell you where to find the most authentic Southern Pit barbecue in all of Jacksonville. That's right, Bono's. For 72 years, Bono's has been smoking real pit barbecue right here on the First Coast. Smoked for hours, served in minutes, and always cut to order. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field. Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you want great barbecue, head to Bono's today. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
At ViStar, we believe in better, especially in helping build a better financial future for our members. So we've reviewed our offerings from the ground up. We've lowered or eliminated over half our fees and enhanced our already competitive rates, saving members more than $1 million this year, in addition to the millions we save them every year. If you believe that saving money is better, join ViStar. Visit ViStarCU.org. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
We're back, Jaguars Drive Time. A little preview of the week for you. Head coach Urban Meyer press conference live 10:15 this morning, answering some questions about that preseason game. The Jaguars back on the practice field today and tomorrow. Go to a preseason schedule on Wednesday with a player day off. We'll travel to New Orleans on Sunday for a preseason game next Monday night. It is going to be a long week, but we have all of your coverage right here on Jaguars.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to Jaguars Drive Time.